Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Our service today. Hope you had a great time in His presence, in God's presence. Welcome to Family Corner. If you're watching on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, welcome to the Family Corner of TMAD. And if you're watching on Facebook, on our Facebook page, welcome to our Facebook page. Welcome to the Family Corner of TMAD. And TMAD stands for, what does it stand for again? Truly making a difference. Welcome everybody. Tonight, this topic where, I normally say tonight on Sunday evening, 5 o'clock, okay? So this evening, we're going to be discussing, I'm going to be equipping you with a topic that I believe is impacting on so many people, even adult children, literally everybody, okay? And as Christians, I would like us to be kept informed, to really know the right steps, to be equipped, okay? So last week, I discussed about how to keep our children safe when it comes to online, okay? Have you watched the video yet? If you haven't, after tonight, I think I'd like you to watch the video, because what I'll be discussing this evening actually links to what I discussed last week, Sunday, when I talked about how to keep your children safe online, okay? And don't forget to share this YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Don't forget to share the link with your friends and those in your circle. So tonight, what am I going to be talking about? Tonight, the topic is your family screen time under control? Should I repeat that? Is your family screen time under control? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 means your screen time is under control, perfectly under control, meaning 10. Perfectly under control. 0 means your screen time is not under control, okay? In terms of your spouse, is your spouse screen time under control? Is it excessive? Your children, as young as a baby, is your baby screen time under control? Are your children's screen time under control? Does your screen use interfere with what your family want to do? Does screen interfere with you or your children's sleep? Are you able to control your use of screen time? So I'm going to be talking about screen time, the excessive use of screen time, the benefit of screen time, the negative impact of screen time, and how to manage our use of screen time, how you can strike a balance when it comes to using the screen. And also I'm going to be talking about how you can help your children to strike a balance. And I'm going to be starting as young as 0 to 5-year-old, 0 to 5-year-old, 5 to 11, 11 to 14, and 14 to obviously teenagers. And also as adults, I'm going to be sharing tips on how you can strike a balance when it comes to screen time. So tonight I'm talking about, is your family screen time under control? Okay, so how do you strike a healthy balance? We're still going to come to that, but I just want to make you aware that as parent, you need to consider your own use of screen. Is your use of screen excessive? Are you modeling good use of screen time well for your children? Okay, so when it comes to benefits of screen, should we talk about it? Benefits of screen time. Okay, so when it comes to screen time use provides a range of opportunities for creativity and learning. You're actually watching me using a screen right now, so you're learning from me. So screen time allows you or your children to gain new knowledge from wherever side you're watching from, okay? And you know what? There was a research that was undertaken by Internet Matters, and it was found out that 70% of parents strongly agree that using devices, screen, is essential for their child's development. 70% of parents strongly agree, okay? So this is saying that if 70% of parents strongly agree that the use of the screen helps their child when it comes to their learning, meaning that the screen time is here to stay. But how do you strike a balance that is not excessive? So for you as well, the use of screen, you're probably learning when you use the screen. Your children as well, they're learning. So when we use the screen, it actually gives us access to a wealth of information to build our knowledge, okay? And yes, it does. And it also takes away the sort of the physical barriers in terms of you having to physically be somewhere to learn something. But now everything, like I've got my phone now, I've got my pointers on my phone. So we've got like our phone, our iPad, our TV, our what else? Our tablet, our computer, our laptops, our watch. People access the screen using different devices, okay? So another benefit of it is that you can access it on the go. You don't need to physically be somewhere to gain a new knowledge, okay? So there's like a wealth of information that you can build your knowledge when you use the internet, okay? And also, the screen time can be inspirational for you, for your children, because you can discover content that you would never have dreamt about, you would never have thought existed. But when you're online, you're sort of exposed to new information that you will gain new things, okay? So screen time can offer children opportunities to learn and develop new skills at a touch of a button, okay? But as we know, like anything, okay? Anything too much can have a negative impact on our children's well-being. Anything too much can have an impact on your well-being as well, okay? And you know, Bible says that we should do everything in moderation. Is your use of screen, is your use of phone, internet, do you use it in moderation? Okay. And you know, one thing I want to highlight, as children get older and more independent, okay, they sometimes struggle to find the right balance when it comes to the use of their screen. We're going to come to that, okay? So when you use the screen excessively, or your children use the screen excessively, what sort of impact could happen when they use the screen excessively, okay? So sometimes it affects their lack of sleep. They might not be able to sleep well because they've got their phone with them. Or even you yourself, you may struggle to sleep. You may struggle to go to bed on time. So excessive use of screen time can impact on your sleep. You may not be able to sleep well because you are on the screen, you're using the screen before bed or while you're on the bed. Another thing that excessive use of screen causes is sometimes lack of exercise. If you're using the screen excessively, you might not be able to create time to exercise, to go outdoor for fresh air, to actually be intentional when it comes to exercise, whatever forms of exercise that you do, okay? Another negative impact of excessive use of the screen is that sometimes a child, a teenager, a young person, even yourself as an adult, you might start having that unwillingness to visit people, unwillingness to speak to people on the phone because you're just so addicted to your phone. You rather chat with people. You will rather not speak to people. You rather not visit people because you're like, let's just meet on Zoom. Oh, I see them on Facebook. Oh, I see them on Instagram. I see Funky on YouTube. I don't need to ring. I know all is well with that. Okay. Another thing that the impact of the negative impact of excessive use of screen is sometimes leads to eye problems. Too much screen when you're not taking a break from using the screen. It can lead to eye problems for yourself or your children. So you want to be conscious of all these things I'm talking about when it comes to the negative impact. I've talked about the lack of sleep, lack of exercise. I've talked about how it's sometimes impact on social skills in the sense of going out to visit people, ringing people. And also I've talked about how it can affect the eyes, okay, when we're using the screen too much. Another thing that I've observed from my practice, from my job practice, how it can affect children is also, it can lead to some challenging behaviors, okay? Some things that children have seen online, they then start repeating it because they're watching it too much. Another thing that the excessive use of excessive use of screen affects, should I tell you? Concentration, lack of concentration. Okay, yeah, a child or you may be so used to looking at your phone, looking at your screen constantly, but when it now comes to doing other things, okay, let's say that when it comes to you now reading a book or a child reading a book, if they're so used to excessively using the screen, they may struggle to actually read a book. You may struggle to read a book. You may struggle to read a paperback sort of Bible. You may struggle to pay attention to lesson. We've got some children that they struggle to concentrate in class because They've not learned to be listening, focusing on real life people. They've not learned to be, they've just been used to using the screen, using the gadget. So it can actually affect an adult or children's communication, okay? And it can affect their concentration, okay? Another thing, the negative impact of excessive use of screen is addiction. You or your children may start developing a bad habit, struggling to let go. Or can you actually do without your phone for an hour? Okay, an hour may be too. If you use your phone excessively, that may be too extreme. For 30 is actually an hour is not extreme at all. But can you do without your phone for 30 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 1 hour, for 2 hours? The negative impact of excessive use of screen is that you may struggle to let go. It may become an addiction that you always want your phone everywhere. Going to the toilet, your phone. The bedroom, time to sleep, your phone. Going out, your phone. Driving, your phone. Everywhere you stay, your phone. The kitchen, your phone. Oh, you can't wait for the notification. Oh, let me see what's happening on people, WhatsApp status, Instagram story, Snapchat. Oh, let me see every second. And then the whole day with let's even say 10 hours in a day, for example. I'm just using that random number. 6 hours of that 10 hours you use it to be using the internet. So you need to be mindful that it can lead to addiction and it's a bad habit that can be difficult to let go. Okay. Another negative impact of excessive use of the screen is that too much use of the screen may impact on your everyday life, and also it can affect a child's development, like I said, such as lack of concentration to important things such as their learning. A child may start struggling. They may struggle to listen. They may not even have an interest when it comes to reading paper book. They may not also want to socialize face to face because they're just so used to the screen. Okay. Another thing that excessive use of the screen causes, do you know what it causes? Limited communication between you and your child. Limited communication between you and your spouse because you are just so used to, or even be limited communication between you and your friends and your relatives because you are just so used to using the screen constantly. Trust me, we do sometimes have genuine reason why we have to use the internet or the screen. But if it's not within work or ministry work, but even with that, it should not be excessively done. Okay, so is your use of screen time affecting the time you're spending with your children? Is your use of screen time affecting the time you're spending with your spouse? Are you giving your spouse the leftover time after you've used the screen? Are you giving your children the leftover time after you have used the screen? Or your children are giving you their leftover time after they've used the screen? That means it's becoming excessive, okay? And do you know one thing that I also want to highlight, okay? You might have a task for the day. That's if you do that. Remember, I've talked about how we can achieve work-life balance. And I talked about not giving your family your leftover time. And I talked about having a to-do list, task, and all that. Imagine if you have like a 5 to-do list tasks for the day. And you spend all day using the screen, being addicted, not struggling to let go of a screen. You might not be able to achieve your goals for that day or for that month. You will just keep procrastinating and time goes very quickly. Time does not wait for anybody. Okay, now let me put another research into the mix, okay? The Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, they looked at the effect that screen time can have on the lives of children, okay? And young people, and they gave some key questions parents can ask to help them consider their family use of screen, okay? So the research that the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, the research they conducted, they asked young people between the age of 11 to 24-year-old from across the UK. They asked about their views on screen time. Now let me talk about what they found out, okay? 88% of young people said screen time had a negative impact on their sleep. Look at that. That's quite high. 88% of young people. So that means your child may also be, the use of screen excessive may be impacting on your child's sleep, even your sleep or your spouse sleeps. I'm going to still be talking about how you can strike a balance, okay? 35% says screen time had a negative impact on their mood. I didn't even cover that before. Mood. Sometimes they may be agitated. Oh, I'm not looking at the screen now. They're just not themselves. Okay? On average per day, young people spend 2.5 hours on a tablet or computer, 3 hours on their phone, and 2 hours watching TV. So it's looking like about 7 hours in a day a child is on the screen. Oh dear. Look at the impact of the lack of sleep, the mood, the concentration, not being able to listen, not having interest in reading, eye problems, not spending family time with you or your spouse. Wow, so many negatives. Wow. Are these the things that, have you ever thought about the negative implications of excessive use of screen? How is it impacting you, excessive use of screen? How is it impacting on your spouse? How is it impacting on your children? How is it impacting on your relationship with God? Your excessive use of the screen. I really want you to think about this. And as you're listening to me, this is the time to be intentional in making a change. Okay, now it's time for me to talk about the tips on managing your screen time, your family screen time, your children's screen time. And like I said, I'm going to be breaking down the age, but probably I will start with the family, okay? How you can strike a balance, a healthy balance, okay? When it comes to your use of the screen as a family. One side doesn't fit all, so parents need to think about what's going to be useful for your household. But I'm sure the things that I'm going to be covering now, they will be useful for your household, okay? Okay, one thing that must establish first is you need to be a role model when it comes to setting a good example, okay? You need to set a good example with your use of the screen, okay? You can't be telling your 10-year-old, your 6-year-old, don't go on the tablet, don't do that, and then you're always on the phone. Pressing away. Browsing away. Okay, one thing I think you should start with as a family is it will be good for you to have like an agreement, a family agreement. A family agreement is a great way to start a conversation with your whole family. Talk about how you use the screen in your household. How does your spouse use the screen? How do you use the screen? Start from there. And your children, okay? And be honest about your conversation there. Be honest. Do you think you're using it too much? Do you think it's excessive? And then you can talk about what are the things that our use of the screen maybe is impacting or in our household. Then during your family agreement, you should actually sit down and have the discussion. How can we minimize the use of the screen? One thing, I'm going to give you some digital sort of tips, okay? For how you can reduce your screen time, okay? So please pay careful attention, okay? So you want to consider, in your family agreement, okay, you want to consider digital free zones. Digital free zones. Did you hear that? Digital free zone. So at home, there should be an agreement, okay, between all members of the family where the digital free zone should be, okay? For example, it might be agreed that there should not be any technology when it's time for dinner time, when it's lunch time, when it's breakfast time. There could also be an agreement that digital free zone, when it's time for the children to go to bed, they are not allowed to take any technology to their bedroom. The phone stays in with mommy and daddy. But guess what? That does not mean that you're affecting your child's emotional well-being. Because I need to come from a social worker perspective now. Don't think you're doing anything wrong if you ask your teenager that they are not to take their phone to their bedroom because you're now having a digital free zone that you don't want it to impact on their sleep. Okay? Yeah, they may be resistant initially, but they will agree to it. But I'm going to give you some other digital tips for you to consider. You also want to consider you and your spouse. Should we be taking our phone to bed? Should we leave it near the charging point? Should we leave it, if you have upstairs and downstairs? Should we leave it away from the bed so that while we're on the bed, we don't use the phone or the screen, tablet? Explore digital free zone in your house. When you have a guest, relatives coming to visit, do you want to have a digital free zone as a family? Talk about it. Don't make an assumption to say, oh, my husband is always using the screen. Oh, my wife is always using the screen. Have you talked about digital free zone? In your house, dinner time, do you have a digital free zone? When you're getting your children ready, Do you have a digital free zone? When you're spending time together as a family, do you have a digital free zone that nothing will come in between your family? No screen will come in. Okay, another thing you want to consider is digital detox. Okay, digital detox is basically the use of technology being limited. So you can come up with digital detox mean, okay, Wi-Fi free Wednesday. So in our house now, every Wednesday, Wi-Fi free. Nobody will be accessing the internet every Wednesday night. Or you can come up with Wi-Fi free Sunday, screen free Sunday, screen free. So every Sunday is screen-free Sunday. Nobody will be using their screen on a Sunday or on a Saturday, okay? Or you could also, So the aim of this is just to ensure that as a family, you're limiting your use of screen, you're striking a healthy balance to spend time together, okay? And whenever you're not having that Wi-Fi free Wednesday or screen-free Sunday or screen-free Saturday, ensure that you put something in place. Maybe it's time for you to go out as a family. It's time for you to play games. It's time for you to do something that will bond you together with your child and as a family. Because when you say Wi-Fi free Wednesday or screen free Sunday or screen free Saturday or screen free breakfast or screen free dinner time, without not putting something else there, as a family, you may give up, you might not be able to sustain it, okay? So I've talked about digital free zones and I've talked about digital detox. And now I need to talk about digital sunset. So basically, just like the song goes down, there should be an agreement around when the screen is put away in your household. For example, this might be no technology 1 hour before bed. Or it could be no technology when it's time for bed, because we're talking about lack of sleep. By the time we use the phone constantly on the bed, our brain, our mind has not even settled down to sleep. That's why some people struggle to sleep. They don't realize, even children, adults as well, because they've been using the screens constantly, and then you will now want to sleep straight away. It doesn't work like that. Okay, and finally, I would like you to consider being a digital role model. Adults will need to model how to use the screen technology appropriately with our children. I understand that because obviously with everything happening in the world, we are all spending more time on the internet, but we still need to consider digital detox, digital free zone, digital sunset, and all. Yes, I talked about sunset and then being a digital role model. When you're coming up with this agreement, incorporate everybody in your family into this, okay? Children should be part of when you are devising your digital free zone, digital detox, digital sunset. Everybody in your household should be a part, and you should all contribute to how you'd like a digital free zone. Okay, and the Royal College of Pediatrics and Childcare, they actually advise that devices should be avoided in the hour before bed to promote healthy sleep. So they are saying, so the research that was undertaken by the pediatrics team, they're saying that when we use the screen too close to bedtime, we may struggle to go to bed on time, which will impact on our sleep. Okay, now let me consider the different age groups, how you can help your children to strike a healthy balance when it comes to the screen. Okay, and I'm going to start with the 0 to 5-year-old. Okay, so for 0 to 5-year-old, it's important for you to prioritize face-to-face interaction with your little ones. Okay, you need to be prioritizing non-screen activities as much as possible. Non-screen, non-apps activities. Try to encourage them in active play. You want to be promoting their communication skills, their physical skills, their emotional skills, their social skills. You want to be prioritizing their sleep because they grow with their sleep. You want to be prioritizing them just interacting because these children are just learning to grow, learning to develop. Yeah, they're going to learn using the screen. They're going to learn some activities when they use the screen, but you must prioritize face-to-face activity, okay, with them, okay? You must prioritize that. You must also take the lead when it comes to what your child watches on the screen, what they see and what they do. All I will advise you is, your child can go Monday to Friday without watching the screen. Okay, your child may just watch the screen once a week. They will still learn. Okay, you don't want your 0 to 5-year-old to start getting addicted to the screen. When you turn off the telly, your child becomes you're extremely distressed, or your child may start throwing tantrums, or your child can't do without. They see a phone, they want to pick that phone. They see an iPad, they want to pick that iPad, and your child starts struggling to sleep. And whenever your child is extremely immersed in the screen, you might not be able to identify if they're struggling with concentration, if they're struggling with listening skills, if they're struggling with their language development or social skills, because all they do is look at the screen, watch the screen. So you need to prioritize your little ones. You need to prioritize their face-to-face interaction. You need to be encouraging them to read books, to go out for walks, okay? If they were to watch screen, limit it to maybe even 10 minutes a day. But for me personally, I would strongly advise at least once a week, okay? And whatever they watch, ensure that it's age appropriate, is suitable for their age, and that you choose what they see and what they watch as well. Okay, now let's talk about 7 to 11-year-olds. Okay, so for 7 to 11-year-old, you want to encourage them. You want to obviously come up with boundaries, okay? I was talking about family agreement. This would be quite good for your 7 to 11-year-old, okay? You want to talk about digital free zones in your household, okay? You want them to know that their phone or their screen, 7 to 11-year-old, their screen should be out of their bedroom at night, okay? You want to let them know that they are to be taking a regular break when they're using the screen, at least every 30 minutes when they're using the screen. You want to put a time limit to how long your 7 to 11-year-old want to use the screen. And you want to definitely incorporate digital free zones where they are not allowed to have any screen, how long you want them to use the screen for within the house, okay? And you want to ensure that they are not using the screen at least 1 hour before bed, if possible. Okay. And what was I going to say when it comes to 7 to 11-year-old? Okay. Well, ensure that you know what they're accessing whenever they use the screen as well. And what was that? You have to set a good example with your own screen. You can't be telling your 7 to 11-year-old that, no, you're only allowed 30 minutes on the screen. Yeah, you are using it all day. They are seeing you using your screen, okay? So you want to ensure that they have digital free zone in the house, when to use it. So now let me talk about obviously last week I talked about what you need to be teaching your child when it comes to keeping safe online. There's some things that are applicable for 7 to 11-year-old. So I'm just going to advise you to go and watch the previous video on how to keep your children safe online. So for 11 to 14-year-old, oh gosh, this age group, when it comes to internet, or they spend a lot more time on their devices. So this is a crucial time for you to talk to your 11 to 14-year-old about how to manage their screen time. You need to give them strategies to find a healthy balance between their life online and their face-to-face life. Okay, so what sort of things you want to teach your 11 to 14-year-old? You want to teach them you want to set boundaries with them to help them with good online habits, okay? So you want to include them in your family agreement, okay? You want to let them know when they're allowed to be online, okay? You want to let them know where digital free zone. You want to encourage them to have a day that is a digital detox, or an afternoon or an evening that is a digital detox. You want to know what they are doing online as well. You want to limit when they go online. Yes, you can still do that with your 11 to 14-year-old. Yes, even if they have a phone, they don't have to take their phone to their bedroom when they are going to bed. No, they don't have to. If it's going to be impacting on their sleep or their academic work or their mood or their concentration or their ability to learn with their books, you want to consider how you want to incorporate digital free zone in your house. And you don't want them to be addicted as well, okay? Yes, some 11 to 14-year-old may be saying that, oh, but John uses his phone. Oh, but Michelle uses her phone in her bedroom. No, it doesn't apply to every house. So whatever works in A, if you don't believe is appropriate, you don't incorporate in your house. Yeah, your children will test your boundary, but be intentional. Don't encourage your 11 to 14-year-old to be taking their phone to their bedroom, because phone, screen, whatever is so addictive, devices, okay? So for your for your, for your 11 to 14-year-old, be intentional in encouraging face-to-face activities, face-to-face discussion within the house as well. Be intentional in ensuring that they are not just staying in their bedroom like all day, things like that, okay? So for the 14-year-old to 18, okay? Yes, teenagers, they use their smartphone a lot, but you want to ensure that for your teenagers, they prioritize important tasks over the use of the screen. I don't mean they are doing the important task on their screen. I mean in terms of social media, things like that. Their schoolwork, whatever is important in your household, whatever you believe is important for your child, learning, progress, development, spiritual development, they need to prioritize key tasks over the use of the screen, okay? When they are using the screen for irrelevant things, I know some key tasks can be undertaken using the screen, okay? Because I'll be honest with you, even as for you as an adult, sometimes it's very difficult to be multitasking. So imagine I have my Bible now, I'm reading my paper Bible, for example, or even I'm using my Bible on my phone, and then I have my WhatsApp on, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not going to work, even for a 14-year-old. It's time to turn off the internet while they are doing one work. So for your 14-year-old, for your 11 to 14 as well, for your 14 plus, they need to prioritize key tasks over screen. If they're telling you they can multitask, no. Maybe when they finish that task. But then you don't want it to affect their concentration when when they finish, they'll go and use Instagram. No. They must always know that key tasks come over, over screens, okay? For your 14 plus, stay engaged in what they do online, okay? Stay engaged, encourage them to know that they will have to prioritize important activities like their homework, and then work with your 14 plus, so same as your 11 plus, to create digital free zone, digital sunset, okay? And encourage them to take regular breaks, and encourage them to prioritize family time and sleep over the use of the screen. And like I said, you need to set a good example with your own screen time use as well. That is super essential. And stay engaged in what your 14 plus, obviously, what they do online. So I'm going to wrap up now just to talk about it, just to give you a brief overview of how you can minimize and strike a healthy balance when it comes to your screen time, so that you can put it under control. Let me remind you, as a family, as an individual, you need to consider digital free zone. You need to have an agreement for yourself, for your children, and also with your spouse. Talk about digital free zone. Should we be using technology when it's time to spend time with the children, during dinner time, when we have friends over, relatives over? Or an hour before bed, while we're on the bed? You want to talk about digital detox. Should we have a screen-free Sunday, screen-free Wednesday night, screen-free Monday night? You want to talk about digital detox, Wi-Fi free Wednesday, Wi-Fi free Monday? You want to be a digital role model for your children, both of your spouse. If you're married, you need to be digital role models. You also want to think about digital sunset. I talked about when should we start winding down our use of screen time. Should we do that before we go to bed? Should my children also do this before they go to bed? Okay. And finally, remember to incorporate everyone in your household when it comes to reducing the screen reducing your screen time use. Okay. I would really like you to be intentional. Okay. After you've watched this video, this is the time for you to ensure that the use of screen time is not impacting on your spiritual growth, you knowing more about God. This use of screen time is not impacting on you spending time together as a family. The use of screen time is not impacting on your child's development, their growth, their progress. The use of screen time is not impacting on your family time. You're not giving your family a leftover of your time after you spend all day on the screen. The use of screen should also not impacting you achieving your daily goals, okay? I'm sure you've gained a lot from what I have discussed. Let me know what you have gained in this session. I know you've probably been following. If you have any comment, Please leave any comment there. And also you can always write to us at trulymakingadifference@gmail.com. Let me repeat that. trulymakingadifference@gmail.com. I have educated you so much about how you can strike a balance when it comes to the use of the screen. Okay, that's it for me this evening. Or you might be watching in the morning, catch up afternoon. I hope you have gained a lot of things from watching this video. If you've been blessed, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Truly Making a Difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the to the Facebook page. No, Facebook, you don't really subscribe to Facebook, do you? Don't forget to like the Facebook page. So many people, they watch our videos on Facebook, but they've not subscribed to our YouTube channel. For when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, we tend to have more functionalities the higher the subscribers. So we need you to subscribe so that we can have access to other things that will help us to be able to equip you with information that will benefit you, benefit your spiritual growth, benefit your family. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. And yes, have a lovely week, I must say. Have a lovely week. May the Lord go with you. May you experience divine favor in this new week in the name of Jesus. God bless you. From all of us at Truly Making a Difference, have a good evening. Take care. Bye.